We live in a world of conflict and war and famine, where people, a few people, control and hijack the wealth at the expense of the vast majority. We live in a world which, take a step back, deep breath, look at it again, is utterly bloody insane. Everything is backwards. Everything is upside down. Doctors destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, universities destroy knowledge, governments destroy freedom, the major media destroys information, and religions destroy spirituality. That's where we are. The key to everything else in this global conspiracy is to put humanity into a false identity, a false belief in who we are. It has to get us to see ourselves in terms of little me, powerlessness. What can I do? I'm just Joe Public. And I'm just Ethel Jones or Charlie Smith. That's who I am. I'm the reflection in the mirror. That's me. I have no power. When in fact, we are infinite consciousness having an experience as Charlie Smith or Ethel Jones. But what the manipulation has to do to put us in the box of mass control is to persuade us that we are the experience. And they've done it brilliantly, so far.
There are three things that rule our lives that must crack and start to fail. The wind must come out of the sails. That is government, that is money, and that is religion. Big power, big religion, and big money is going to fail. And when that fails, the spirit will rule. The heart will rule. Will you stop listening to negativity? Will you join living from the heart and not the mind? It is simply as simple as shutting off and changing the channel. Will you change the channel? Then we change the world. I am not saying ignore the world's problems. I'm saying stop giving your energy to it. As you give your energy to something that is not right and not good, it becomes more not right and not good. You cannot wish for something better but give your energy to something that just is the way it is. You can't expect it to change if you go along with it.
Who is in the driver's seat when we control our emotions or we respond to our emotions? We know physiologically that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you practice something over and over again, those nerve cells have a long-term relationship. If you get angry on a daily basis, if you get frustrated on a daily basis, if you suffer on a daily basis, if you give reasons for the victimization in your life, you're rewiring and reintegrating that neural net on a daily basis, and that neural net now has a long-term relationship with all those other nerve cells called an identity. We also know that nerve cells that don't fire together no longer wire together. They lose their long-term relationship because every time we interrupt the thought process that produces a chemical response in the body, every time we interrupt it, those nerve cells that are connected to each other start breaking the long-term relationship. When we start interrupting and observing, not by stimulus and response and that automatic reaction, but by observing the effects it takes, then we are no longer the body, mind, conscious, emotional person that's responding to its environment as if it is automatic.
In order to associate with your true immortal being, you have to see deeper than the identification with yourself as a human being. And we've all are born into an identity as a human being. That's what we believe is real. And as long as we believe that's real, we miss the reality of ourselves as immortal being.
I will say to you again now, that all that actually exists within this or any other reality is pure conscious energy. That is truly all there is. And the stuff that this energy is made from is pure, unconditional love.
The first thing that you must understand, the knowing that there is a bigger, higher knowing than ourselves. Things are not happening by chance. We choose to come here with a purpose. We are part of the big plan, the universal being. You must realize that there is more to life than just this. That we belong to something enormous. We belong to the universe, which belongs to the great I Am, which belongs to love and light, which is everything. We are bigger than you think. The second thing you must understand is history is not the evolution of technology and production. It is the evolution of thought.
Subway exhibit comes to us from Japan and Mr. Masuro Emoto. Mr. Emoto became terribly interested in the molecular structure of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the four elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and left them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown, except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
Number 3, a new understanding of our physical world. All things are alive with energy. Seeing energy, sensing beauty. This is huge. Sunset and sunrise are the very best times to see energy. You can see energy around plants.
See that philodendron? It's the opposite of trying to make something happen. Just let go. Take in the plant. The beauty, the color, the way it stands out with presence. That's it. Breathe it in. Now take in more beauty.
That's amazing. That's... Oh, hold on, I lost it.
Here. Try again.
Wow, that's incredible.
This is not so hard to understand because even now those who do not automatically understand that all things have energy and that the plants have energy and the trees have energy and you and I have energy, it's scientifically documented, so yes, it is understood that all things have energy. But the next step is the most important. The most important of, I think, of all the steps. And that is that this energy is what's keeping us alive. It's not the energy give and take between human beings. We are using our energies wrong. Why does it feel so good to be outside? Because you're plugging yourself in. It's a battery. It is your life. Mother Earth is everything. She is everything. The best times to literally see energy, and every single human being can see energy. Stop telling yourself, I can't. Because you can. It's real. Sunset and sunrise are the very, very best times to see energy around the plants, around the mountains, around anything. Start looking. It will look like a pink haze. It's life energy.
Put your fingers together like this.
Okay.
Go ahead. You're going to look at the space between your fingers. Relax your focus just a bit. What do you see? Look closely. Let your eyes go out of focus just a bit. What do you see?
Huh. It's like a wisp of smoke or something.
You are God and Goddess. You have all the energy in the world to support you. You are a creator because you are the creator. And what do you want out of this life? Make your decision and watch it come forth.
For once you have gained a clear understanding of what this reality truly is, once you have gained knowledge of how the true stuff of the universe actually works, once you have realized your connection to all people and to all things, once you have moved into the heart, then follow the path of the one universal law, then what is there to fear? What is there to hate? What is there to judge? Understand that the life we are experiencing within this reality is a game of free will being played out by a single consciousness of which we are all merely frequencies. Tune into that space behind your eyes. Realize that to deal with the situation we are faced with in the world today and to deal with the coming changes, all you really need do is move into your heart. To realize that all that actually exists within this reality is energy consisting of nothing more than pure, unconditional love. Embrace it. Become it, for it is what you are made of.
And at each morning and each night you look at the day and say, everything is good and beautiful. And I am God and Goddess, and I am a creator. And I can change my world.
Have you ever stopped for a moment and looked at yourself through the eyes of the ultimate observer?
Philosophers in the past have said, look, if I kick a rock and I hurt my toe, that's real. You know, I feel that, it feels real, it's vivid, and that means that it's reality. But it's still an experience, and it's still this person's perception of it being real.
Scientific experiments have shown that if we take a person and hook their brains up to certain PET scans or computer technology and ask them to look at a certain object, and they watch certain areas of the brain light up, and then they've asked them to close their eyes and now imagine that same object. And when they imagine that same object, it produced the same areas of the brain to light up as if they were actually visually looking at it. So it caused scientists to back up and ask this question. So who sees then? Does the brain see? Or do the eyes see? And what is reality? Is reality what we're seeing with our brain? Or is reality what we're seeing with our eyes? And the truth is that the brain does not know the difference between what it sees in its environment and what it remembers, because the same specific neural nets are then firing. So then it asks the question, what is reality? If the brain is processing 400 billion bits of information, and and our awareness is only on 2000, that means reality is happening in the brain all the time. It's receiving that information, and yet we haven't integrated it. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's taking place out there and what's taking place in here.
There is no out there, independent of what's going on in here.
We're part of the universe. We're in the universe, and the universe is in us.
We know what an observer does from a point of view of quantum physics, but we don't know who or what the observer actually is. Doesn't mean we haven't tried to find an answer. We've looked. We've gone inside of your head. We've gone into every orifice you have to find something called an observer, and there's nobody home. There's nobody in the brain. There's nobody in the cortical regions of the brain. There's nobody in the subcortical regions or the limbic regions of the brain. There's nobody there called an observer. And yet we all have this experience of being something called an observer, observing the world out there.
In my modeling, the observer is the spirit inside the four-layered bio-body suit. And so it's like the ghost in the machine. It is the consciousness that's driving the vehicle. And it is observing the surround. The four layers of the bio-body suit have all kinds of sensory systems to pick up signatures from the surround.
Are people affecting the world of reality that they see? You betcha they are. Every single one of us affects the reality that we see, even if we try to hide from that and play victim. We all are doing it.
Most people don't affect reality in a consistent, substantial way because they don't believe they can.
Only watch that the idea of I, just keep watching it. When it goes, as it's used to doing out of habit, into a personal modification, then you'll find that your experiencing is more struggling. If you are definitely an I, this body, then you'll definitely see other bodies as different I's. And there may be conflict, friendships. You'll be in some energetic interactions with other beings. When the sense I arises, see I as consciousness, universal. And taste the difference. Taste the difference. I is synonymous and identical with consciousness. Your name, George, Harry, Samantha, this is to do with your body-mind identification. But your I is consciousness. The I amness principle is the godly principle inside this body. I am is your God and your own self. It is not an object. I am itself is like the aperture through which the infinite can perceive manifestation.
I wake up in the morning and I consciously create my day the way I want it to happen. Now sometimes, because my mind is examining all the things that I need to get done, it takes me a little bit to settle down and get to the point of where I'm actually intentionally creating my day. But here's the thing, when I create my day, and out of nowhere, little things happen that are so unexplainable, I know that they are the process or the result of my creation. And the more I do that, the more I build a neural net in my brain that I accept that that's possible. It gives me the power and the incentive to do it the next day. We're in completely new territory in our brain. And because we're in completely new territory, we're rewiring the brain, literally reconnecting to a new concept. Then ultimately, it changes us from the inside out. If I change my mind, will I change my choices? If I change my choices, will my life change? Why can't I change? What am I addicted to? What will I lose that I'm chemically attached to? And what person, place, thing, time, or event that I'm chemically attached to that I don't want to lose because I may have to experience the chemical withdrawal from that? Hence the human drama.
You already are what you're searching for. And so the willingness then is to give up all form, to lose everything that can be lost, to stop all the searching for some way of being or way of doing, to find what's already present. And that's the confusion between being and doing. That is all of ego is about doing, and all of our culture is about doing. I am what I do. I am my career. I am my art. I am my relationships. Whatever it is I do, that's who I am. And that's what we're trained to do. That's a survival strategy. That's how we've been trained to survive as animals, is to be successful doers. To do accumulating wealth, to do, accumulating family, accumulating relationships, accumulating power, doing art, whatever it is. There's a sense that if I do it right, if I do enough, I'll be happy and fulfilled. But it never leads to happiness and fulfillment.
Just be self-aware. Self-aware. Then by itself, out of nowhere, wisdom come.
There is no God condemning people. Everyone is God's.
God is a superposition of all the spirit from all things.
You are a God in the making, and you have to walk this path. But someday, you have to love the abstract as much as you love the condition of addiction. The only way that I will ever be great to myself is not what I do to my body, but what I do to my mind.
Your consciousness influences others around you. It influences material properties. It influences your future. You are co-creating your future.
You must not become addicted to other human beings and what they think you should or should not do. You are God. You can create anything you wish to create through love and light. And if you are loving beings, you will never tamper with anybody else's dreams. You will never tell them what they can and cannot be. You will simply support them. And you will love them. And you will not let anyone else tamper with what you want to become. Through love, all things are possible. And through love, this whole world is going to change.
Holiness. The presence of the Holy Spirit. You are this Holy Spirit. When you come to know who you are, then holiness is shining from you. Not panic, not exciting. Oh my God, look what, it's terrible. No, this, not this. Something else. Even to have the presence of this. Presence itself is already changing the environment, washing it with love and grace.
Your highest self decided to send you here, and here you are. So why do you want to be here? This is not about going to sleep at night and getting up in the morning, going to work and coming back home. Why are you here? Make a decision. What do you want to be here for? What is your purpose here? Ask yourself that and then really, really answer it. And only then will you know how to create it. Why are you here? Why did you send yourself here? Why do you want to be here? What do you want to do with your life? You have all of the energy in the world to support you.
It's one thing to just give energy. But if we give it to someone who is also giving it back, then we build energy among ourselves. It amplifies back and forth.
So I say, I love you. every single one of you. I love the great I ams that you are. I love how different every one of us and our great I ams are. I love that we get to share this experience together. I love that I chose to come here. I love that I took the challenge. And I love that I get to see this world change into something magnificent. And I love that I get to do it with you. Oh. You don't like the way you're living? Create a different one. Do it.